Okay, so in the previous episode, you would have remembered that we had issues with getting this one screw out on this hinge. That's been fixed up. We've got the screw out. We will need to replace it. The screw head itself is a bit damaged, but not a big issue on that one. What we are going to be doing today, apart from cleaning up the inside, is looking at getting that dent fixed out. That is a pretty nasty one. There is some welding that's been going on here, so we need to have a look and see what they did to this inner inside of the skin on the bottom. We've got a dent in the back here that we need to look at, and we've got a dent down here on this side that we need to look at. So that's going to be our goal for today. There's also a bit of weirdness going on here. I think maybe lead oxidization. So we'll have a look at that, and then we will clean up this door, and might possibly in the next episode start looking at getting undercoat on this door, getting it smoothed out, and then working it in from there. So let's get cracking on that. Okay, so just to explain the time lapse that you just saw, basically what I started doing on the stop corner over here, we pulled this hectic dent that was here. We pulled that out with the sliding hammer. Found another dent in this region that I also pulled. Then we've got two dents in this area that I've got out for the most part. Unfortunately, this panel here has got a gusset on the inside, and it looks like they've welded that gusset onto the outside skin. So that one is a bit of a different situation. If you can see, let's try and get focus here. You'll see that these edges have been welded up as well. So I think this door was reskinned at some point in its life. And then in this back corner over here, like I said, the door was reskinned, but the weld here and here, or the repair in this region and here, it's a funny one. It's almost like there's a crater that's been knocked into the metal, and that was just filled up with lead. So I've taken the lead out and I've actually welded it up and closed it up like that. Over here, this dent we've got out for the most part. Still got a little bit of massaging to do. You'll see that I haven't ground away everything from the welding. I first want to see how much of that dent I can get out from the inside, and then once that's out, then I'll clean up the welding on the outside a bit more. And yeah, that's what we've got so far. So far I'm pretty happy. We'll definitely be able to rescue this door and get her back to looking as good as she should. Okay, so here we've got an example of a very common fix on classic cars. Generally it's called reskinning. So the outside skin of the panel gets dented, damaged, destroyed, or whatever the case may be, and you want to put a new skin over the car. So the right way of doing it is, in this case, especially on the older DR3s, you would have, if I can get focus eventually. So in the olden days, you would have had a spot tag weld like that instead of the more common modern crimp welds. So on more modern cars, you would have tiny little indentations here where the spot welds took place, similar to these little indentations here. In these cars, it was quite common to get a tag weld like that to hold the skin in place. So effectively what they did is the outside skin was put over the door frame, and the edges were folded over and crushed. So basically the panel would sit like that. It then gets folded over, crushed down, and then spot welded into place to keep it from slipping and moving. So here we've got a fix that was done where they reskinned the door. Now, a very common practice is, instead of undoing these little welds, what a lot of people do is to grind, try and get it like that, to grind the edge of the metal until you get a split, and then you end up with a situation like here, where you've got the inner lip and the outer skin separately. The new skin then gets put over, and instead of folding it over, they then weld the two edges together, grind the edges off, the excess off, and then round the edges over with a grinding disc or a flapper disc or something like that. Problem with that is, quite often you end up with a fix that looks like this one here. So you can see all the welding burrs on the edges here, and then here where they try to make up for something, I don't know exactly what, but you end up with that. So yes, it is one way to fix a door. Personally, I prefer to do the old way, where you fold it over and knock it over. It does take longer, and you have to have patience, the world's patience, to do it, but I prefer doing it that way. It gives you a softer edge around the door, and you don't end up with fixes that's that obvious and that visible. So we will fix that up and weld that in and close it up and make it look like it should look. I'm not going to reskin the doors. Skins on these doors are quite expensive and not easily available in a local market. So I will be fixing that up and getting that ready. Okay, so you would have seen us do quite a bit of sanding and paint cleaning off. So basically what we tried to do was just to get the inside as clean as possible, so that we've got we don't want paint blobs and that type of thing all over the surface, because that makes beating the panel straight a bit difficult. The panel on this edges here has a bit of a rollover, so I want to try and get as much of that rollover out as I can. And on the back here as well, there's a bit of a rollover here as well, so I'm going to try and get that rollover out, and that I'll be doing in normal, or recording in normal speed, so you can see a bit what I'm doing there. It is a bit of a time consuming job to try and get that rollover out, so let's go for that. we fixed these welds on the edges. Still needs a bit of cleaning up, but as you can see, it's a much cleaner looking finish, and once painted it will also look more professional, and you won't have the look of the welding marks that used to hang off of you. So I'm very happy with that result. And on the other side of the door, like I said, still some cleaning up work to do. Come on, focus camera. Okay. Still some cleaning up to do, but you can see the edge here looks a lot better than it used to, and we've got a nice straight edge. We will, once the door's back on, we will gap this with the mud guard and make sure that we've got this edge spot on correct here. If need be, we'll weld up around these beads and then cut it off to match up with the fender's shape on this point here. But for today, our dent work, I'm very happy with how we got the dents out. Our dent work here is just about, I'd say about 90 to 95% complete. I'm very happy with that result. Unfortunately, you'll never get dents like these, especially in the corner. You will never get them out 100%, simply for the fact the metal has stretched. It's like taking a plastic bag and pulling it over a marble and then trying to get the plastic to go flat again. There is ways and means of doing it, but in this corner where you can't get into it, it's a difficult process, and something that you're probably going to end up making it a lot worse than better to begin with. We will obviously clean it up a bit more and try and get a bit more of that dent out off camera, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to see us struggling with that type of thing. But that's it for our door so far. Getting pretty close to getting paint on this door, so hopefully soon we can show you the painting process on this one. We've already got the paint for this car, and we do have the primers for it. So on this car, because it is fairly wavy, we are going to be using HS primer, which is HS stands for high solid, so it is quite a building primer. So we'll do an HS primer over it, then sand it back to get the surface as flat as possible, and after that we'll do the final coat after it, once we're happy with the level of the shape and the level of the panel. So one more thing that we'll have to do, this piece of wood actually goes onto the inside of the door. Let me see if I flip the door over. And everything goes falling. So that piece of wood goes into the door like that. Unfortunately, this piece of wood is fairly rotten, so we are going to be replacing this piece of wood. You can see how many times people have drilled holes to try and button it down. There's matchsticks pushed into it, as you can see there's matchsticks pushed into it to try and get some grip on the screws again. So it's going to be better. Let's just, while we've got everything open, we're going to paint the car. So before we get to paint, we will replace these pieces of or cut new pieces of wood. We'll try and make them solid so that we don't have those joints in them like here and there. And once that's done, then we'll do a waterproofing on the wood and put the new wood in. I am going to clean up the inside of the doors a bit more. Problem is the coating on the inside is a tar-like substance, so we'll probably need to wash it with something that takes tar off. And then I don't know if you would have noticed in the previous time lapse that we tried to do a bit of sandblasting on it, but even the sandblasting gets us nowhere. So on this one, we're just going to carry on and get a solvent to clean the inside of the door, probably some paint stripper, but we're not going to bore you with all of that stuff. Okay, so we've just started on the left hand side door, and I've noticed right on this edge here there's a split where, like I explained earlier, this panel, the outer skin on the door, is basically folded over onto the edge. And we've got a separation line right across here and down here. Now, so far I haven't seen any evidence that this door has been reskinned. My thinking is, because we've got this massive curve here. I'm thinking that with the door being wrapped around, that there's a huge amount of stress that takes place on this edge here, and that separation that we've got there is due to that stress. So far it's the only place that I've seen it, so it's quite an interesting one, also quite a perplexing one. It's the first time that I've seen separation like that. Nonetheless, what we'll do in this regard, in this case, is we'll run a weld bead right on the edge, basically in that direction, to fill up that crack, and the same around here. After that it gets sanded and ground down back to the body line, so that we've got that body line again, and then we'll use a fine sanding disc to do the round curvature in it again. Make sure that we've got that solid metal fold, if I can put it like that, and hopefully it will alleviate the stress that caused that crack in the first place. Okay, I hope it's going to record voice over the compressor. So again, copious amounts of body putty on this panel. I have no idea why, what the reason for it is. This panel is so much better than the right hand draw. There's a slight dent over there, and it's got a bit of a wave in the middle section, but really nothing too bad. Slight dent in this corner here, and then there's something up there that I'll have to fix. But apart from that, this door is really not bad at all. Unfortunately, it is that time of day when Eskom decides to force a break on us. So I'm going to call it here on this video. I'll probably do a little bit of B-roll tomorrow as a short on YouTube, where I do a bit of welding and a bit of panel repair, just to finish this door off over the weekend. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it was a little bit more informative than our first video. And yeah, thank you for watching. And again, please, if you don't mind, subscribe, like. It really helps take the channel forward, and gives us an idea of what you like and what you don't like, and helps us make better videos. And yeah, that's going to be it for us today. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.